assess my niece on. I assessed my niece, first of all. She's actually homeschooled and is the age of a normal first grader in a public school, but she's on the second grade curriculum and standards. I did ask her mom before I did this, because I know homeschool, public school is a little different, that if they went by like the TEKS or whatever. And she said, yeah, they look at the TEKS and they compare and do all this mix match stuff going on. And so I know that she is teaching her the fractions, and that that's where she's at, according to those TEKS. So I used the vertical alignment to know what to test her on or assess her on, and kind of help me create my assessment for her. My assessment that I did was 3 tasks. The first task, she got blank rectangles. Correctly color in the right portion of the rectangle, so 1/2, 1/4, 2/8, etc. Second task she got was she got a circle that was a pre-cut circle, and she had to cut it into 8 equal parts. The last task I did, it was a rectangle, and she had to cut it into 2 equal triangles. Okay, so for the first assessment, or first task of the assessment I did, I gathered my data from just looking at it and talking to her as she did it throughout the thing. So I gathered that she visualizes things differently than I do, or most public school kids that I know, but I think that comes to do with the fact that in public school you're given a certain way it's set up, and she was just given a blank rectangle, because when you look at the 1/4 one, it talks about, or it shows that she did 1 square, and when she thought of 1 square, she thought about breaking it up into actual squares like that, instead of up and down rectangles within the rectangle. And when she did the 2/8, when she was breaking it up, she was like, I don't know, I've only got 7 boxes. How do I fix that? And I said, well, how do you think you'll fix it? And she went to draw that extra line there to make the extra box. And she looked at me, I was like, well, how many boxes do you have? And she said, now I have 8. I said, okay, now do the next part of what you think to finish this question is. And she colored in her 2 boxes. Okay, so for the next task, obviously she had the circle. She had to cut it into different pieces. The thing about this one is she actually started and had to restart. And what I mean by that is, I saw her do this, and she said, and I think she heard 8 first, and so she just started cutting 8 and started trying to cut in 8 pieces, instead of thinking 8 equal pieces. And then she's like, oh no, and she's like, can I have some tape? She said, this is not going to be equal. And so I gave her some tape, and she fixed it, and this is what she ended up with. And this is the piece of tape cut, because you can see where she tried to cut straight instead of squares. This is the first example of the triangles that she did, and I think this is mostly my fault than hers, because I just had 2 triangles instead of 2 equal triangles, and so she just went for it. But this is how she did it after I said they need to be 2 equal triangles. After we did the assessment, I asked her some questions like, what do you think a fraction is? And she, without having those concrete things with her, she couldn't tell me. But as soon as I handed her what she had cut, like this, we did mainly the circle. And what I handed her after that, she was able to tell me. So she looked at me and she said, a fraction is like a piece of this circle. I said, okay. And then I asked her, I said, what is an example of this circle in real life? And she thought for a minute, and she got this like bright look on her face. She was like, a pizza. I was like, yeah. So in real life, fractions can be food. And we talked about how if you broke a cookie into 4 pieces, they would be bigger than if you broke it into like 10 as well. And something I realized through this is that kids her age need that that concrete thing, because their brains just can't abstractly think about this concept. They don't grasp it unless it's right there in front of them. I would use these results from my assessment to further my teaching of her. If I was to teach her lessons, I would use these results to teach her and my class, I guess, and to just help my instruction be, okay, I realize she needs this concrete still to get the abstract form. I'm going to try to find ways to put that in my lessons and in my teaching skills. And if I were to teach 2nd grade, 1st grade, I would be more aware of how much they need that concrete, because fractions in my head is an abstract thing that I can get, but for them, they definitely need that concrete thing in their hand.